Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Dr. Donna. Welcome to today's Turnaround Tactics. Today, I have selected the principle of real leadership of finish what you start. How many of you have started something and not finished it? You can go ahead and do a thumbs up, a little clap, a little emoji, a little sad face. Do you have any projects in your house, in your life, at school, at work, wherever you are? Did you start something and you didn't finish it? Did you start playing an instrument and you stopped? Did you start running track like me and stopped? Did you start building something at the house and stopped? Did you say, I'm going to go to school and you stopped? Do you have any unfinished projects at all? Go ahead, be honest, get real to heal, and say, yes, I'm going to say me first. I did it. I started tracking in 10th grade, trying to check on my cheating boyfriend. Never made it to the first track meet. Had to go back in my senior year and go ahead and let her in track and cross country, and won a couple relays and did some other stuff, because you got to finish what you start. You definitely have to finish what you start. My daughter, I'll tell her story. She was in elementary school and they had the mile club. And during recess, you could run laps and you could run miles. And the whole goal was to exercise during recess. And it was the 100-mile club. So every time you got to 10 miles, they gave you a little keychain or trinket, and then you would get a foot. And at the end of the year, everybody that had 100 miles, they would present them with a 100-mile certificate, the 100 number you could put on your necklace, and you would also be a part of the 100-mile club. So in third grade, she started the mile club, and she didn't even finish her 5-mile card. In fourth grade, she got up to 80 or 85 miles, and then in fifth grade, we made a strategy at the beginning of the school year and said, you're going to finish. You're going to be the first girl in school to finish the mile club. And she actually did finish. And she got her award at flag ceremony. And now she'll be 21 next month. And it was a great thing for her. Because imagine how many times you've started something and you didn't finish. And now when you think about it, you're like, man, why didn't I finish that? And sometimes you might be able to go back and do it. In my case, I was able to still go back in the 12th grade and go finish track. But then sometimes you can't. And that's no bueno. So what's one of the reasons, or what's one of the tactics that you can use to finish what you start? You have to start with a strategy. So in third grade, she didn't have a strategy. She decided that she still wanted to play during recess. So then she couldn't finish the mile club. And then in fourth grade, she started too late. And so there was no way time-wise to be able to make up the time to be able to get to 100 miles. But the summer of fifth grade, we actually sat down, got the strategy together. And in fact, they needed one more parent. So I volunteered to make sure that the mile program could work so that she could achieve her goal. And she was able to achieve that goal. So all of the things that you say you're going to do. And I come across people with my daughter's business that have a bunch of, I started that, I'm going to get back to that, and I was going to paint that, and then I was going to start that business, and then I had that business, but then I didn't finish that business, and then I'm going to get back over there to that, and I was knitting those socks for my granddaughter, and so what happens is you don't have a strategy. You don't have a tactic in place to say, here's where I'm going to start, here are some milestones or some benchmarks, and here's where I expect to finish. And why is that? Part of the reason why you can't finish what you start is because you got some people around you that ain't finishing what they're starting. And so all y'all together just got a bunch of unfinished business and unfinished projects. And they're there to help you not finish. Girl, you too busy. Man, you know what I'm saying? You out here on your grind. You ain't got time for that. Oh my goodness, you just had a baby. Oh my goodness, you just had some grandkids. Oh my goodness, you just started college, or you just started a new job, or you just broke up, or you just got in a relationship. The people around you will help you not finish. They will definitely help you not finish. If you think about it, every time you have an unaccountable person in your life and you start talking about that project, they might say, hey, let's go to the club. Hey, let's go to get some lunch. Hey, did you see that new show on television? Oh, let me show you this TikTok video. Anything to stop you from finishing. Why? Because if you actually finish something, you might leave them. If you finish school, then you're not going to hang out with people who don't finish school. Perhaps. If you actually get promoted at work, that might mean that you may leave and relocate. If you actually, in my case, get out the hood, then that means you might not come back and might not be down with us no more. So that's what happens is you want to finish something and you want to start it, you want to finish it, and then the people around you ensure that you don't finish it. And you ensure that you don't finish it. Why? Because we're told that these relationships are important. We're told that these relationships matter. So if in my case, if I wanted to stay married, I wasn't going to be able to be who I actually was. I was going to have to be a wife. And I didn't want to be no damn wife. I was like, you can have this. I'm going to go be something great. Because this little, as Patti LaBelle said, that little doggone wedding ring is the smallest handcuff in the world. It will keep you tied to a lot of stuff. And people will remind you of the vows that you took, for better or worse. But most of the time, it's just worse. Every now and then, it's just a little bit better. So you got to finish what you start. You understand what I'm saying? And you can't do that as long as you have people around you making it okay. But when you hold yourself personally accountable, I'm going to say that for a third time, because when you hear it 3 times, it kind of resonates in the back of the mind, and it sits down there in the hippocampus and stays in your memory. When you hold yourself personally accountable, you're going to finish what you start. And so here is what my suggestion is for you. I want you to take the simplest thing that you didn't finish, that easy thing, and I want you to go back and pick it up today, tonight, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in. If you're about to go to bed, no, you're not. You're going to pick that project back up. Get the dust off of it. You know what I'm saying? You might have to pull it out of a box. Go stand on the ladder and get it off of a shelf. But you're going to pull that bad boy out. You might have to go through your phone and keep scrolling. Go in the garage and, you know what I'm saying, move some Christmas. Well, your Christmas stuff is probably up. Move some holiday stuff out the way, some old clothes. You're going to pick that thing up. You're going to remember where you were. And you're going to do something about it today, tonight, this morning, wherever you are in the world. You're going to work on it now, okay? And then you're going to give yourself an end date. You're going to say today is, November 16th. You're going to say by December 20th, I'm going to have this done. By November 20th, depending on how small the project is. And then from there, you're going to grab that next thing that you didn't finish. And that next thing that you didn't finish until everything that you didn't finish is finished. And then you can start something else once it's all finished. Because now you're going to be able to say, oh, I got momentum. I'm a finisher. I'm not a starter. I'm a finisher. I'm going to get this ish done. Because if you don't, you're going to end up thinking that you can't accomplish anything. And it doesn't matter if it was hard. When I went back to track, the people that was on track when I was in 10th grade, they had 2 years. They were there on freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. By the time I got to my senior year, they were smoking folks. You know what I'm saying? My school was so big. We had an A, B, C, and D relay teams. And I started out on a D relay team and made it up to the B relay team. But I was killing things in ROTC. So I stayed in ROTC. And as my mother said, I was kicking ass and taking names in ROTC, but I was still in track because I needed to prove it to myself that I could letter in cross country, that I could letter in the regular track season, and that I could actually get a medal and win some relays. And I improved my long jump. I improved seconds off my 100 and my 200. So it wasn't necessarily that I needed to be a state champion because I didn't have enough time to be a state champion. But I did have enough time to do those goals and to finish what I started and to be able to say, yes, I lettered in sports when I was in high school. So that's why you do it, because you want to be an example for yourself, for the people coming behind you, and you want to be known for somebody who finishes what they start. When I was working on my doctorate, I started right after my divorce. I had to sell my house to get out of divorce debt. I had to move back to Michigan. I lived in my parents' house for a year. I was still working on my doctorate. I had a near-death experience where I spent 13 days in the hospital. I lost 18 pounds. I couldn't drive. It was supposed to take 6 months to a year for my surgery to heal. They cut my stomach muscles and everything. I was back at work in 7 weeks. I was back doing everything I could do besides sit-ups in 3 months. And I finished my dissertation in 4 years instead of 5 years because I finished what I started. Was it painful? Was it hard? Absolutely. But I finished what I start. And that's what real leadership is about. You can't be just saying, I'm going to go do something and don't do it and be around people making it okay for you to not do it. That's 100% unacceptable, especially if you're a parent or a grandparent. How are you going to tell your offspring and your offspring's offspring do something and you over here in quitter land? You over here in non-finished land. You a starter but not a finisher. And now you got all these unfinished projects and now you want to tell them about something. You're a hypocrite at that point. If you have not finished what you started and you turn around and tell somebody younger than you, yeah, you better make sure you, No, you can't do that. That is 100% personally unaccountable. So you have to finish it so that you can lead by example, which is another principle of real leadership. It is absolutely 100% unacceptable. So the only acceptable reason for not finishing what you start is because you died. That's it. Now you can't finish it because you're not here anymore. So you need to go back and finish all of those things that you did not finish. And if you haven't finished them, you need to be accountable and tell people why. I had no business on the track team trying to keep an eye on my cheating boyfriend who still cheated anyway. So that was a dumbass plan to begin with, but it was what it was back then. Chalk it up to being young and dumb and in love, I guess. So I had to go back because I didn't want that to be part of my story. Well, I only joined and I told people I quit because my grades was bad. It was true. My grades weren't that great, but that's not why I quit. I quit. How do you use real leadership in your life? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me finish this, and then I'm going to tell you how I use real leadership in my life. So I told everybody I quit because my grades was bad and all this other stuff. But the point was I didn't have the discipline. I didn't like coming out the starter blocks, and it wasn't stopping him from cheating. So guess what? I went on ahead and quit. Did my thing at ROTC, but I went to basic training in the summer of my junior year at high school to senior year. And I just had a different experience having been in the Army. So by the time I got back, I was a lean, mean fighting machine. And I was like, you going to go ahead and finish this. It's inspiring me to finish. This is inspiring. Go ahead. Go on and finish that doggone website. You better, look, tonight, listen. I still maintain my website. I have maintained my website myself since August 13th, 2013. And I even did people's website. And that was way back when you still had to put in the meta tags and everything else. Now you can just click. Everybody, it's easy to get your website done now. Simpler than it was before. I won't say it's easy. It's definitely simpler. So how I use real leadership in my everyday life is there are 74 principles of real leadership. I wrote Real Leaders Wear Pink in 2008. Published it in 2009 while I was still having my corporate job. But I have been living these principles my entire life. And how you apply the principles of real leadership. What happens is from 0 to 18, technically you're in your parents' house. They're telling you what to do, your guardian, whoever is taking care of you. But what I found is that by the time you get 18 and go into the workforce or the military of 20, 22, 23, when you finish college, there isn't anything guiding your day-to-day life. There isn't any, as long as you pay your bills halfway on time, you go to work, you pay your taxes, you don't kill anybody or go to jail, nobody's really checking for you to make sure that you're doing your best. And so the 74 principles of real leadership are how you guide your day-to-day life. Some of the, if you go to my website, theturnarounddoctor.com, and you will see all 74 of the principles of real leadership listed. Now, listen is listed twice because people don't listen, so it's actually on there twice. But those 74 principles are how I interact with everybody. I use those principles to interact on social media. I use them to interact with my daughter, with every human being. That's what I use. And it doesn't matter if I'm talking to a toddler or if I'm talking to an octogenarian or somebody even older than that. Those are the principles that I use. So some of them are treat people with dignity and respect. Be honest. Have fun. Take risks daily. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask somebody. Be fair. Be objective. Use tact. Solicit feedback. So it's a bunch of them. I know I have them in order, but I'm saying them out of order right now. But they're there on the website. So if anybody is interested, again, theturnarounddoctor.com, go to the principles. You'll check it out. Thank you. But those are the principles that I use. Handle conflict when it occurs. I work with my daughter in her business. She's been helping me in my business since she was 13 years old. Might even been 12. And so what happens is when you have a conflict with somebody, you literally are arguing, doing like this, right? So you can't argue as long as you're angry. So you got to go away and come back. And when you handle conflict when it occurs, you actually have to collaborate. Everybody in relationships are always compromising. That's why I hated being married, because it was compromise. So when you compromise, you still giving up something. And then you just sitting there like, I don't want to do this. I had to give up something. But when you collaborate, when you are actually resolving a conflict that occurs and you strive for win-win, then you walk away feeling like, yeah, okay, I can do this because I didn't have to give anything up. And this person listened to me and they understood what was actually taking place. So I tell my daughter all the time, one of the top reasons why people get divorced is because of irreconcilable differences, which is basically a breakdown in communication. So when you learn how to effectively communicate, and that's why I'm an advocate of reading every day, because part of the reason why people can't communicate is because they don't have enough words in their vocabulary to effectively communicate. So sometimes, like one of my first lives, somebody said they were obsessed with the Asian boy band BTS. I think that's who it is. And I told that person to look up obsessed, because obsessed is not a good thing, because if you're obsessed with something over here, then that means you have imbalance over here. So you don't want to be obsessed with anything. You just want to give everything that matters to you equal attention. So part of the reason why people can't communicate is because they do not have enough words in their mind to be able to convey what they're talking about. Another reason why people can't communicate effectively is because people think emotions are feelings, and they're not. So my daughter actually is processing how she feels now, and she has a PDF, and it has all these different categories for feelings, physical and everything. And twice a day we sit down and she talks about how she's felt in the last 12 hours. So we actually do it about 8 a.m. and about 6 p.m. unless we're at an appointment, but it's twice a day. And so she has the time and space to process how she actually feels, because most is like, and you're emotional, and now you got all this cortisol going all in your brain. You can't make any rational decisions. And I talk about this in my book, is that you have to be objective. And the only way to be objective is to actually understand how you feel. And it's so, can I be obsessed with a dream or an aim? How am I supposed to feel about my goals in life? Okay, so you can be passionate, you can be driven, you can be determined, and all of those things go for it. So for example, I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. And if you don't know about Toastmasters, it's a great organization, especially if you want communication and leadership. I recommend it. It's everywhere in the world. They even have virtual clubs too. So Toastmasters is definitely going to help you with your communication and leadership. And so I decided that I was going to get my distinguished Toastmaster in 18 months. Never been done before. Everybody will tell you it takes 2 years, takes 4 years, takes people 7 years, whatever. I sat down with my mentor. I said, we about to knock this out in 18 months. And so I was disciplined and focused and determined, and I knocked it out in 18 months, because obsession isn't really strategic. So if you're obsessed with something, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Now you got all of this emotion attached to it. But when you're determined and you're disciplined and you're focused, now you're going to go, because I had to do like 40 something speeches, and I had to be an area director, and I had to charter clubs. So there was a checklist of things that I needed to do. And when you're obsessed, you get very emotional, and now you can't check off the things that you need to do. So you can be driven, you can be assertive, you can be determined, you can be disciplined, and you can be extremely focused. So if you say, I'm extremely focused, now you're going to be able to get it done. So that, hopefully I answered your question and that makes sense. So I should plan my moves to reach my goal and not just imagine the final outcome. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Because, I mean, everybody got a dream, but you got to wake the hell up and do something. If you just dreaming, that means you sleep. And I ain't never seen nobody be productive while they sleep. And it ain't happened. Now, I've never heard of it. And if anybody got some information to tell, you can tell me, put it in the comments and tell me otherwise. So the principles of real leadership are how you govern your adult life. It's the reason why I don't work with teenagers. I used to counsel parents and their children, and I don't do that anymore, because when you're grown, you out there. People, that's the first thing my daughter noticed, was once she graduated from high school, everybody stopped paying attention to her. Then, nobody wasn't interested anymore until her business took off. Then there was like, oh my God, look at you, you done it. But most people don't really care about adults. I actually do care about adults, because we're going to make sure that everything progresses forward in the world when you're equipped with the right things. So I go back to that conflict, that not being able to communicate effectively, all of those things that you find yourself not being able to do. Because you think, oh, my parents taught me everything. And then you get in the world and you're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I can't have effective relationships. I got mommy issues, daddy issues, sibling rivalry, all these things. And there's nothing to anchor you. And I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and the Bible is there. But the Bible, I don't care what interpretation you get, it's still not going to help you with that day-to-day thing. It's like very theoretical. Now, I can interpret it and tell you how to use it, but very few people can do that. So real leadership is saying, how do I navigate through my life day in and day out, and how do I access my best? And be the best is one of the principles of real leadership. So for those of you superiority complex, avoidant personality, delusions of grandeur. Kimberly, I don't understand that statement. So in my cousin's name, my favorite cousin's name was Kimberly. Wow, I'm having, oh, wow. Okay. So if you could explain what you meant by that, I would appreciate that. So basically what I'm saying is the principles of real leadership. I have a doctorate in organizational leadership and business management, and I've been an advocate of teaching people how to become their best. And so this whole those are things that you have: a superiority complex, avoidant personality, and delusions of grandeur. Those are things that I have? Me? Okay. But no, ma'am, that's not what I meant. Okay. Oh, these are two people going back. Okay. Now I can see what's happening. Okay. Yeah, that's confusing. And again, that's the only thing that I don't like about lives, because I can't see you all, and we can't actually, I'm being verbal and you can see me, but you're typing. And so it's a little bit confusing. Okay, Kimberly, you can say whatever it is that you meant. So we do have another appointment that we have to do, but I wanted to get this live done. So basically what I'm saying is to finish what you start. And the principles of real leadership allow you to be able to do that because it helps you go through your day in and day out. It talks about holding yourself personally accountable, establishing trust, and also or getting organized and staying organized, because that's another reason why you can't finish what you start, because everything is everywhere and you have to get organized and stay organized. You got to eliminate the clutter in your life. You have to learn how to say no to a bunch of things so that you can say yes to a few things, and you can actually have a good existence in life. So it's all about becoming your best. So all of you, thank you for being on this live, and this live is about how to finish what you start. So for those of you who've just joined in like the last 3 minutes, here's what the suggestion is for you. Go find the simplest thing that you didn't finish and go get that thing out and finish it. Give yourself a date. Starting today, you're going to start on it, and then you're going to give yourself an end date. That's very close. So don't say, oh, I'm going to start on this and then I'm going to finish this 2 years from now, because that's procrastination. And that's another. I was talking about qualities people enter the world with after leaving their parents' house. Got it. Yes, ma'am. Okay, great. Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate that. And so then what happens is, thanks for the guidance, doctor. Have a great night. You too. I appreciate it. Everybody that's taking their time, because it might be nighttime for some people. So I appreciate you jumping on. Like I said, we had a busy day. So the purpose of this live today was to tell you to finish what you start. Go find a small project that you finished, that you started, but you didn't finish, and go back and finish it. And then everything else that you haven't finished, go back and finish it. And don't start any other new projects until you finished all of the other projects. And if for some reason you can't finish it, you have to be accountable and tell people, remember when I said I was going to write that children's book? I ain't going to finish it. I done lost all my interest in it, and I don't want to finish it, because that's what personal accountability is. Personal accountability says I'm accountable for everything that I do and everything that I fail to do, because that's what's going to help you become your best. As long as you're lying to yourself and say, I'm going to write it, 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 you're never going to write it, and you're just lying to yourself. And one of the principles of real leadership is to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself so that you can access your best. Best has nothing to do with, well, I don't make enough money. I've been at my best when I was making $3.35 working at McDonald's, and I was making $1,400 a year back in the 90s when I was in the Army. $1,400 a month when I was in the Army. So best has nothing to do with money. It is, I am going to give you my best. I'm giving you my best right now, and it ain't a dime attached to me doing this doggone lives. Not one. I don't have ulterior motives or nothing. I'm just here giving you this information today so that you can start finishing what you started, so that you can start accessing your best, so that you can start becoming personally accountable. And I could have a billion excuses. I'm telling you, if it could happen to a human being, most of it, 10 things are probably the only thing that has never happened to me before. But other than that, I have had plenty of reasons to not continue to finish what I started. But because of the principles of real leadership, I'm going to finish what I start. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to be my best. I'm going to strive for big, enormous, galactic things on the daily basis, because I'm not paying attention to people that aren't doing anything. Unaccomplished people don't interest me at all. So I'm telling you this to say, you have everything. And I know this sounds very cliche, but you actually do have the ability inside of you to do the things that you want to do. The issue is, are you going to be personally accountable daily to get those things done? Because everybody says you can do it. If I could do it, you can do it. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to say, if you hold yourself personally accountable on the daily basis like I do, then you're going to be able to access your best, and then you're going to be able to go after those things that make you your best. If you don't hold yourself personally accountable, if you don't finish what you start, you are not going to have the things that you want. I don't care how much you dream about it. I don't care how many times you write it down. I don't care how many times you put on a vision board and manifest and all this other stuff. It's action, baby. It is action. You got to take action every single day. I told the story yesterday. My daughter started out on TaskRabbit. She was making $15 an hour. Now she makes between $40 and $100 an hour, depending on what it is that she does, because she increased her skills, because she works 26 days out the month, 2 to 3 appointments. Today we got 3 appointments. We're about to leave in about 5 minutes to go. You either do or you don't. Exactly, Kimberly. You either do. I always say, less talk, more actions. I listen to what people do. I don't really care how much you're saying, because I'm paying attention to what you're doing. And if you ain't doing nothing, then I don't have time for you. I'm like, okay, exit stage left, get out of here, kick rocks, bye-bye. I'll mess around with people who are not taking action, and you shouldn't either. So anybody that lets you, once you get off this live and you start working on something and you finish, and somebody like, girl, why you doing that? Man, why you doing that? You ain't got to do that. Come on, let's go. Get rid of them. Get rid of anybody that's talking you out of finishing anything, because they just want you to stay stuck with them. Stuck people stick together. They do. And they want you right there with them, complaining and not accomplishing a damn thing. But that's not for you. Everybody has the ability to become their best when you hold yourself personally accountable day in and day out. I have been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning since June of 2016. If you want to scroll through my Instagram all the way back to 12,500 posts, you will see when the 4 a.m. club started. I have been faithfully in the morning, 4 a.m. club, 4 a.m. club. I started my 10th annual book challenge yesterday. 10 years of reading a book a week with 2 weeks off, and doing a video and putting it on my YouTube channel. I'm in my 10th year of doing that. That's what personal accountability is. Day in and day out. Day in and day out. I have over 8,700 YouTube videos from daily personal accountability. That's what this is about. Daily personal accountability allows you to do things that you never thought were possible. I never thought I was going to be able to make content. I never thought I was, definitely not video edit, graphic design, none of that stuff. I got corporate background. My background is in leadership and leading people. How am I using my smartphone to make posts? I mean, that was unheard of for me 15 years ago. But I am able to do it now because of my daily. I started out with one little post back before they had stories. Instagram, I used to use that vignette, use some stuff out of Snapchat, and now I can app smash with the best of them and can produce content at a very high level. I post over 100 times a day. I got 13 social media platforms. I literally start posting at 4 o'clock in the morning. I stop between 8:30, unless we got a late appointment, and I'm back up doing it again every single day, because that's what real leadership allows you to do. My daughter just left a huge project at IKEA, and they had 7 other people with her. They're redoing the store here. They had 350 something pieces of furniture to put together. She put together 62 of it by herself. Closets, wardrobes, and everything based upon the principles of real leadership. Because of that 26 days, day in and day out, to over 1,250 projects completed inside the app, another 200 and some change outside of it. That is what real leadership will allow you to be able to do. So you can have these people with these little bitty, small little teeny tiny goals, or you can go and do something that's, this is my word, galaxpheric, and really just ride it till the wheels fall off, based upon holding yourself personally accountable every day. You got to finish what you start. So when you get off this live, you're going to go take that small project that you had, and you're going to go and finish it. And then you're going to go finish something else. And when people start pestering you, asking you why you finishing stuff, go ahead and block them. Say, you know what? You don't like to finish stuff. You're not trying to be personally accountable. You're not trying to be your best. You can kick rocks. I'm going to go over here and do something extraordinary, because that is why you can get up in the morning. That's why you can be happy and you have something to look forward to. Instead of everybody just chasing the bag, chasing the bag, chasing the bag, that ain't going to fulfill you. Money only solves money problems. And then after that, Now you still unfulfilled. That's why people with money still doing dumb stuff. It's like you got millions, billions of dollars. Why you doing dumb stuff? Because you're unfulfilled. Because you ain't holding yourself personally accountable to become your best. And now it's just like, oh, look what I bought. Look what I got. Look at that. And then it just becomes about things. And then it becomes about possessions. And then the possessions start possessing you. And you really ain't really doing anything. Daily personal accountability is going to give you the fulfillment that you need, and you'll find balance between securing a bag, having balance, having relationships, and being a whole, complete person instead of this unfulfilled person with all these other different unfinished projects out there. So we have to go to another appointment. I do appreciate everybody that just joined. For the people, everybody that joined, and again, for the people who just joined, finish what you start. Go find the simplest project that you put on the shelf, put in the garage, put in your phone, put some in your closet somewhere, and go finish that project. Give yourself an end date. Pick it back up, work on it 2 day, 2 night, miss 20 minutes of sleep, and work on it and finish it, and keep finishing what you start. And don't start any new projects until the ones that you have that are unfinished are finished. Are we clear? Finish what you start. That is a principle of real leadership. And for those of you who want to know what the 74 principles of real leadership are, go to my website, theturnarounddoctor.com, click on the principles of real leadership, and you will see all 74 of them. Those are the principles that I have used my entire life, and that people that work with me use, and they are getting what they want out of life, because nobody's really telling you how to adult at your best level. Most people just trying to tell you how to get by. But that ain't for me. Best is inside of you through daily personal accountability. So thank you everybody who joined for tonight, this morning, the evening, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in. I do appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow, or not see you. You'll see me and I'll see your name, and we'll take it from there. But for now, you all have a great evening, night, or morning, and thank you for participating in the live. Adios.